London, 1888. The world's most powerful empire. Gas lamps flicker on streets that built modern civilization. But beneath the grandeur, something is hunting. In the span of 12 weeks, 5 women are butchered in ways that defy human comprehension. Their killer vanishes into myth, but this isn't a story about Jack the Ripper. This is about the thousands of others, the murders the empire didn't want you to remember, the bodies that disappeared into official silence. Welcome to the streets where blood ran quiet, and power decided who deserved to be mourned. By 1888, London is the epicenter of human civilization, an empire spanning a quarter of the globe. But the city is 2 cities. West End, wealth beyond imagination. Whitechapel, 78,000 people crammed into 1 square mile. 30 people sharing a single room. 70,000 living in what officials call extreme poverty. The Metropolitan Police record 28 murders in London that year. But here's what they don't record: the 1,200 suspicious deaths in Whitechapel alone. Women found in alleys, men pulled from the Thames, children who simply stopped existing. The difference, whether your death mattered to the empire.
Dr. George Bagster Phillips, police surgeon for Whitechapel. In his 1888 reports, he examines the Ripper victims with meticulous detail, 40 pages on 5 women. But scan his ledgers for the rest of that year. Hundreds of other bodies, women with identical wounds, throats cut, abdomens mutilated. Each receives 3 lines: death by misadventure. This wasn't incompetence, this was policy. The Contagious Diseases Acts gave police power to arrest any woman suspected of prostitution, forced medical examinations, no trial, no record. Between 1864 and 1886, over 18,000 women passed through this system in London alone. 1,400 of them simply vanished from all records. No death certificates, no inquests. The Victorian term was administrative mortality. We would call it state-sanctioned disappearance. September 30th, 1888. The night of the double event. Jack the Ripper kills Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes within 1 hour. The world stops. Headlines circle the globe. That same night, Annie Millwood found 3 streets away, throat severed, identical wounds. She received 6 words in the Times. Woman found deceased, Spitalfields Market. October 17th, Ada Wilson attacked in her home, survives long enough to describe her assailant, matches the Ripper description exactly. She dies 3 days later. The police file lists cause of death: pneumonia. Between August and November 1888, forensic analysis of police records reveals 39 murders in Whitechapel with nearly identical methodology to the Rippers. 5 become legend. 34 are buried in footnotes marked death by natural causes or misadventure. Why? Because the 5 canonical victims had something the others didn't. Witnesses who couldn't be silenced, middle-class men who saw the bodies, journalists who happened to be nearby. The empire didn't ignore the other murders, it chose not to see them. 1889. Emma Jackson, 19 years old, housemaid in Belgravia. She reports her employer's son for assault. 3 days later, she's found dead at the bottom of the servants' stairs. Official cause: accidental fall. But the autopsy, ordered by Emma's own family, reveals she was beaten before she fell. And she fell upward. The bruising patterns show she was thrown from the landing. No investigation, no arrest. The employer's family solicitor visits the coroner the day before the inquest. The report is amended: death by misadventure, complicated by hysteria. It wasn't isolated. Between 1880 and 1895, Metropolitan Police records show 324 domestic servants died in wealthy households under suspicious circumstances. Of these, 298 received no criminal investigation. Research by historian Judith Walkowitz revealed something darker. 89% of these servants had filed complaints about their employers in the weeks before their deaths, complaints that were recorded, then disappeared from official files after the deaths.
The Thames torso murders. Between 1887 and 1889, dismembered bodies wash ashore. No heads, no hands, no identities. Police attribute them to a single killer, the Thames torso murderer. But here's what Scotland Yard's own records reveal. In that same period, 743 bodies are pulled from the Thames. Only 4 receive murder investigations. The Thames Division, Victorian River Police, kept meticulous logs, every body, every location. Historian L. Perry Curtis analyzed these logs in 2001. His finding: 60% of bodies showed signs of deliberate dismemberment, cut marks, saw marks, professional butchering. Why weren't they investigated? The logs include a column labeled Disposition. Most common entry: pauper burial, no inquiry necessary. Translation: if you were poor, your death didn't trigger an investigation, it triggered a burial invoice. The Thames wasn't hiding one serial killer, it was hiding an empire's policy of selective justice. 1891 census. Great Britain counts 4.3 million children under the age of 10. But compare it to the 1881 census. 340,000 children have vanished from the records. Not dead, officially. Not emigrated, no ship records. Just gone. The Barnardo's Homes, charitable institutions for orphans. Dr. Thomas Barnardo kept private ledgers separate from official records. These ledgers, discovered in 1998, revealed 26,000 children passed through his institutions between 1870 and 1900. Official records show 19,000. 7,000 children exist in Barnardo's private notes, but nowhere else. No death certificates, no adoption records, no emigration papers. Historian Lydia Murdoch found something worse: medical experiments. Children in workhouses used for vaccine trials, surgical practice, pharmaceutical testing. The reports are clinical. Subject 47, expired during procedure. Subject 47 was 8 years old. Her name was Sarah Whitmore. At least 2,000 children died in these institutions under circumstances their own doctors called experimental tragedy. None were prosecuted. The defense? They were going to die anyway. 1888. Home Secretary Henry Matthews receives a confidential memo from Metropolitan Police Commissioner Charles Warren. The subject? Strategies for managing public alarm regarding Whitechapel murders. The memo, declassified in 1988, is chilling. Quote, "Excessive investigation into common murders creates unnecessary public distress. Recommend limiting inquests to cases where public interest necessitates full disclosure." Translation: don't investigate murders that don't matter politically. This wasn't one man's opinion, it was policy. The 1887 Police Manual included a provision called Differential Response Protocol. Murders in wealthy areas received full investigation. Murders in poor areas required supervisory approval before committing resources. The smoking gun. In 1890, Scotland Yard's budget ledgers show they spent £12,000 investigating 5 Ripper murders, nearly £2 million in today's currency. That same year, total spending on all other Whitechapel murder investigations, £340. The impossible math. The Empire had the resources. It chose not to use them.
You might think this is history. It's not. Between 2010 and 2020, British police recorded 1,890 murders, but the UK's Missing Persons Bureau lists 5,500 cases where individuals disappeared under suspicious circumstances and were never found. In 2021, a damning report. Police were 50% less likely to investigate the death of a sex worker compared to other murder victims. The terminology has changed. The policy hasn't. The murders of women in Ipswich, 2006. Media called it Britain's worst serial killer in decades. 5 women dead. But police records show 14 other women disappeared from the same area between 2003 and 2006. Identical risk profiles, never investigated. We remember Jack the Ripper because he forced the Empire to pay attention. We forget the thousands of others because the system was designed to forget them. This isn't about one killer or one era. It's about who society decides matters when they die.
Emma Jackson, Sarah Whitmore, Ada Wilson, Annie Millwood. These are 4 names from thousands. Thousands who died not because they were unlucky, but because they were inconvenient, because their lives didn't serve the Empire's story of itself. For over a century, we've been fascinated by Jack the Ripper. We've written books, made films, built tours. We turned 5 murders into mythology. But what if the real horror wasn't one man with a knife? What if it was an entire system that decided some blood could be spilled quietly? Some bodies could disappear without investigation. Some deaths could be filed under misadventure and forgotten. The Ripper killed 5 women and became infamous. The Empire let thousands die in silence and called it order. The Empire's quiet streets weren't peaceful. They were crime scenes we chose not to see. And the blood is still there, in the gaps between what was recorded and what was real. History doesn't bury bodies. We do, by deciding whose deaths become stories and whose become silence.